All right. Okay, so we should be live. If you guys can hear us on the stream, go ahead and chat. We should be able to see your comments as well. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. Give you guys a little bit of preview of the morning meeting. An important day this morning, an important jobs number, obviously. And if you've been following along for a little while, you know that I've been a little bit bearish. I'm going to show you guys the rationale for this a little bit this morning. Matt and I'll talk a little bit about the vol surface and the positioning that kind of produces the vol surface, because it's this precarious stability we have right now in the market where it's actually kind of in between a rock and a hard place, more specifically kind of a cliff and a call wall. And it seems like we keep getting the right side of the coin flip. But the vol situation is still as dangerous as it ever was. It's helping us this morning, but it could have easily gone the other way as well. So now all eyes kind of are going to turn towards CPI on Friday, as we have another VIX expiration to roll through next week, along with regular OPEX. There will be a lot of risk ahead of us. So we may make all-time highs today, but I'll show you guys why I think that as well. Let's see if we can just pull up the dashboard here. So a little bit about what we're doing here. If you guys are new to our brand, I guess you want to call it, I started Vol Signals after leaving the industry myself. I was a market maker at a major firm that managed a lot of the S&P inventory that we model right now. Matt, where'd you come from? You were also with me for a little bit, but.
Yep, I worked at Belvedere as well. That's where we met. I started my career at JP Morgan back in 1997, and I worked at a variety of major banks: JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, SocGen, RBC, and Credit Suisse, UBS for the last few years. So yeah, between us, we have about 50 years of trading experience. It's a lot.
It's scary when you put it that way, but you've seen a lot of situations, to put it lightly.
Yes.
Give me one sec here. So what you guys see right here is, hold on one second. I need to tweet out my my X clickbait. What you guys see here is VS3D dashboard. Okay, so the market's not live updating yet because cash index isn't open. But if you were to be looking at my Bloomberg with me, which I can't share on the screen as well at the same time, we're trading 69.76 in the cash. And so I'm going to show you guys kind of why we do what we do. This dashboard here reflects all of the market maker positioning in the SPX itself. We look at this because we manage this. And so in managing this, you realize very clearly that there is a tremendous influence on the market's outcome. But it's not as simple as just plugging in the open interest into a GEX analyzer and having some kind of answer key. You actually have to do a tremendous amount of work to get the right positioning and the right slice of the right positioning. Another key thing. It's not just direction, it's who holds what. Because if it's, if you're looking at volume and getting market maker versus market maker, that inventory is a wash and you shouldn't be assuming there's any hedge influence at all. But there's no naive tool and no inference tool that tells you those things. So if you're looking at other data providers and they're not making this make sense or something doesn't add up, you're obviously onto something. It shocks me sometimes that anybody who hasn't made markets or managed these positions purports to present themselves an expert in this, because it's not so easy. The position that we have today, going into the day, today's an important one. We had VIX expiration still ahead of us technically. So Matt, you want to explain how VIX expiration works, especially given a weekly?
Yeah, it just settles into the 30-day. It just settles into the 30-day strip of options. So there's a calculation which takes the whole strip of options 30 days out and it calculates a value, and that's how the VIX settles.
Yeah, ignore the settings here. These are not calibrated for VIX Greeks, which are very extreme compared to what we get in the SPX. But the positioning right here is the VIX inventory. Again, this is the actual net imbalance held by the entities that are hedging the VIX options. So when customers, or you hear things about like 50 Cent or Roofer Investments buying big blocks of VIX calls, that produces an influence in the vol complex as well as the S&P 500 index itself, depending on how the S&P positioning is. And so if you know the linkages and you know what the positions are, you get a really good insight into whether there's maybe more pressure on the index than is obvious, even through just gamma and S&P positions alone. But today, for example, you can see there's a big risk, or I should say there was a big risk, where we had yesterday's close run the risk of spiking VIX above 18, but it didn't quite get there. Today, for example, we wound up just below some big clusters of dealers short inventory, which is important because this bifurcation here, again, these positions are not that big, but they're mostly held, in this case, by market makers. You'll see next week when we show you guys VIX positioning in Feb, different story altogether. This position creates an influence, and it's either bullish or bearish sometimes, but going into expiration is going to be amplified just like those zero-day expirations in the S&P. Today is kind of like a zero-day S&P, a zero-day VIX expiration, given that it's coming in just 40 minutes. But this was a dangerous position, and we have a dangerous position behind it in February as well. And the SPX position then is subject to a little bit of extra risk because if vol moves around a lot, but there's Vanna on the profile, meaning skew is really high, for example. Market makers short a lot of puts and long a lot of calls. That additional vol of vol can create a lot of erratic movement in the S&P 500. Sometimes that far exceeds whatever's priced in the straddles themselves. For our purposes right now, the VIX is on track to breach 17 to the downside. And so again, like Matt mentioned, this is just based on the strip of SPX options at the open today. Very fast settlement, fast print. And it looks like we're kind of in a charm down process. So today's position has some implications. There were a couple of tests. I think the most obvious implication for my perspective was that we had a push off of 69.5 kind of implied. We've reverted back to it so many days. It's been kind of like this inflection point that we can't seem to make up our mind around. Yesterday's close, obviously, we held right above it until the last second, maybe a headline risk, et cetera. But then we gravitated right back towards it again this morning. Today's inventory tells us something. And very quickly, just even eyeballing this, after enough time with the data, it becomes clear that today's prescription is a push away, right? And so today, so far, it's up. Matt, you want to explain a little bit what we have here, and we'll wrap it up and head to the morning meeting?
Yeah, send the morning. Yeah, so these we
what's
have
down specifically.
What's that?
I would say what's slowing us down specifically, because obviously not everyone's familiar with the data here, but
as
on top, charm on the bottom.
That's gamma on top, right? Yeah.
Yes.
My eyes are getting bad. So we not only do we show the position by strike, but we show gradients. Okay. So what those gradients show on top is gamma. And as you can see here, it's a pretty heavy gamma environment up here, meaning what gamma tells you is not really the direction of the market, but the speed. And you can see up here, we have about $10 billion per percent.
Yeah.
That's
once we get to 7,000, yep.
If we get to 7,000, yeah.
But a big change, importantly too, right? You can see the speed here has been high.
Yeah. So yeah, we as we go higher. Oh yeah, as we go higher, we're getting more and more gamma. It means that the rally should slow as we approach 7,000. Charm
exactly
tells you the amount of delta that needs to be bought or sold over the next 5 minutes. Very powerful. So that charm informs more about the direction. So you can think gamma informs more about the speed of the market, and charm informs more about the direction of the market. And you can see that based on today's profile, it looks as we push higher towards 7,000, we're going to have a lot of we basically have what we call a call wall. So speed should slow down as we go towards 7,000, which would be about 7,020 in the future.
Exactly.
And you can see that if the number had come in bad, we would have. Oh yeah, we could have had we could have sold with the heavy Vanna. We could have sold off, and vol could have. Yeah, we could have had a pretty. I don't think necessarily a violent vol reaction, to be honest, but we could have had vol could have definitely ticked up fairly significantly. Here,
I get a little more excited than you do about that.
I know you do. I'm a little more. I get excited. We get excited in different ways. So, but the number was benign, so we should see vol. We should see vol come in, and we should see a rally now up to probably close to 7,000.
We'll see. Obviously.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we'll talk about it more. The whole point is also like
this is great. This is great. We get some nice debate in here. Anyway, if you want to know more, come check us out.
Yeah, so this is also kind of, I'm experiencing a lot of people that don't really understand the point of what we're doing. A lot of professionals even reach out to me and ask, what are you looking at and why? Again, it's just because we manage these positions, we model these positions. It's a prescription for how the market should behave, both direction and actual volatility. And so, if you understand how the positions create those prescriptions, that gives you something very powerful. And the reason we're doing this more public facing is just to educate properly, because there's so much bad information out there, bad positioning, bad modeling, etc. And if you want to know more, if you're looking at this every day or something like it, maybe our tool or somebody else's, but you're not really sure what it means, I would strongly encourage you guys to check out our morning meeting. There's a link in the chat there that should tell you how to do that. It's the VS Pro subscription. And so we have morning meetings every day between 9 and 9:30 that kind of drill this exact lens. The whole point being like there's a prescription here. And if you don't know how to read it, you're not comfortable reading it by yourself. What more could you ask for than two professionals who are in the industry for more years than I like to say out loud, explaining our view. So
a lot of experience.
Yeah. Yep. So at 9 o'clock, we'll see you guys there in about 3 minutes. And hopefully you guys at least got something out of this quick session, understand what to expect for the day ahead. Cool. Thank you guys.
Cool.